What's up, y'all? It's your boy Gerald. It's the 10th of October, 2015. How is everybody doing? Doing all right? You're in the midst of your weekend. Excuse me. I'm literally just getting home. My day is coming to a close. And I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time to, hold on, bear with me. I'm like, what are you doing, Gerald? I'm pulling my Bluetooth out. I like gadgets. See, this is my newest Bluetooth. That's right. You didn't look like a miracle ear now, don't it? It fits in your ear. Didn't even know it was there, but it's there. Talk about quality. It's on point. You can also use it for media as well. So, how you doing? Doing all right? I know you're glad that this week has finally come to the close, and some of you are enjoying your weekend. I know for some of y'all it's been somewhat a tumultuous week. You've had a lot to think about now, haven't you? I know you have. And I don't say that lightly. Now, I done turned around, took these bands off, but I'm going to throw one on because I don't want to have to play with my hair. Uh, so bear with me. I want it off my face. All right, that's better. Like, why did I take it off? I'm tired, y'all. I just got home, but my spirit's full. It's full. And I know I need to convey something. So I do as I'm told spiritually. So I know some of y'all have been doing a lot of thinking. I know that some of you have allowed yourself to get one step closer to your vulnerability, and this is foreign to you because you feel that you are losing footing within your intellect. And I'm here to tell you, you're not. You're actually growing. You know how the body has certain functions that are involuntary, like your heart, like your lungs, like your eye, your eyes. You blink. You can't control that. It does it on its own. Well, what about that spirit? hmm Your spirit, everlasting, one of a kind, original. That is you, the core, the person that only very few people get to see after they've earned the right to be called friend. And if they have done what is required spiritually, they inherit the right to be called husband, wife, mother, father. And I say that literally, but I also know that this is not a perfect world, and I understand that sometimes that is not the case. But guess what? As long as you have air in your lungs and will in your spirit, all things can change except for death. And when it comes to your life, don't you think you're worth it? I do. But on the way home, see, today I had a interesting day. I did. And I think today I don't want to say it was a spiritual attack, but I can tell you the demons were out there. Oh, yeah, they were out there today. They were trying to infiltrate my spiritual wall. Oh, yeah. Your boy prays for protection every day. I start and end my day the same way, in prayer. And just as I breathe and I talk to you, I always keep my affirmations flowing. That's just who I am. That is what is needed for me to feel at, at peace. But I also know that at one time, when my focal point was more or less trying to be like as what's found in the world. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all. I'm not sitting up here gonna say that I'm acting like a saint. No, I'm not. I'm human just like you. I'm blood and bone. I have flaws, but I'm at peace with myself, and each day I strive to live and lead an authentic life. But to do that, to truly do that, y'all, you're going to pay a price. Yes, you are. Because the more and more you fall back in love with you, and I'm not talking from a place of conceit, I'm not talking from a place of arrogance or ego or pride, because those four things only lead you to one place, and that is death. I know what I'm worth. And the funny thing about it was, so did other people. Many people knew my worth before I knew it. As a little child to adulthood. And you're not really fully an adult until you take your last breath. Let's put that out there, because you should be continually growing. You should be always learning something new about yourself and in your environment. Yes, just like your environment does change, so do you. So there is a parallel that should have balance, right? I mean, it has to do with your day to day. That's why your reality is how it is. If your reality is filled with nothing but discourse and chaos and confusion, I guarantee you the parallel is also what's felt inside you. Now, don't you think that's a disservice to wake up every day? You got that headache in the back of your head, you're frustrated, you even got to the point you don't eat in the morning. Come on now. Your most important meal of the day is your breakfast. You're not drinking water to flush your system out. So now you got those toxins that are festering inside that beautiful machine, as we know as your body, the greatest creation ever made, also known as you. And you got all these external factors coming at you, coming at you. Requests, demands, trying to fit you in a box. But when you decide to stop running from yourself, stop running from your fears, ground your feet, you'll come to understand that there's no box that can contain you. None. The only thing that was containing you all along was in here. You do understand, y'all. I've echoed this time and time again. We only use 6% of our brain. Imagine if we use all 6%, what you could do. I would think surely the life as you know it would be surpassed. But imagine, just imagine if you tapped into your spirituality. Imagine what your life would be like if you put God in front of your thought process. You couldn't fathom it. You couldn't. But I tell you what, those things that you know as your reality, those things that you know as your struggles, those things that have you on the edge of your seat. No, I'm talking about the things you don't talk about. Yeah, that. hmm Yeah, I'm talking to you now. That. You know, that one fear that won't go away no matter how hard you try to change the environment, it is still a living constant. That fear. It can all go away the moment that you decide that you matter more. Now, I'm not saying turn a blind eye. I did not say that. What I said and what I'm trying to convey to you is this. If it's meant to be your reality, I don't care if it's the scar, that scar tissue you got on your heart. How about that scar tissue you got in the back of your mind? Still having nightmares, still got shame, still got guilt, and you building your life on illusions that only takes that one little thing. If it ever pops out, it comes tumbling down. That's not the life you're living, y'all. You ain't supposed to be walking around in fear. You want the fear to go away? Well, I want you to have that conversation that matters most. He's waiting on you. You know what happens to people that choose not to have that conversation, choose to run away from their problems, choose not to look within themselves? You know what happens to those people? Well, the lucky ones lose their mind. Yeah, mentally, lose their mind, gone. You see them out there. You see them out there all the time, just talking away. You be like, is that they got a Bluetooth in their ear? No. What they're doing is talking to that person inside them that they're disconnected with. They have checked out, which means they have given up on themselves oh so long ago. Queen, you know what I'm talking about. I'll give you a linear self, a linear example of what I mean. You know the same feeling you get when you're in a relationship, but yet you still don't have the courage to tell that person that you don't want to be in there? And what do? You emotionally check out, right? Instead of claiming yourself, you more or less check out up here, but stay relevant right here. Do the biggest disservice to yourself. It's the same. Except that is more long term. You can't turn that switch off. The switch is broken. Can it be reversed? Yes, it can. I've seen it done. I remember one time I was 20 years old. At that time, I was working for Foot Locker. Yeah, I used to work at Foot Locker too. Assistant manager, M Street, downtown Washington, D.C. D.C.'s home for me. And every day for about 4 years, I would I had to catch a bus to catch a train into downtown. And every day I would see this young brother. At that time, I don't think he was maybe 28, 29 years old, if that. But I knew he was young. And every day he'd be sitting out there with his little cup. Really, he didn't even have a cup. And he was dirty. He was not taking care of himself. You could tell he had been out in them environments for quite some time, to the point that he didn't even have an odor no more. I call them the onion people, because the odor has gotten to a point it gives off like a peppery like smell. But every day as I was waiting for my bus, I would always speak to him. I would always say hello. Because regardless of his situation, regardless if he understood me or not, he was still a person. He was still a human being. Was I obligated? No. It's none of my business. I don't know him. But in my heart, I knew it was the right thing to do. So, for 3 years, I would see him out there catching my bus to catch my train to go to work. I would always give him a little change and stuff if I had it. From time to time, I would go stop at the McDonald's in the morning as I started my day, and I would always buy double, one for me, one for him. And I did this out of the kindness of my heart because I knew that was the right thing to do. I wasn't obligated, but once again, that's a human being. That's somebody's son. That's somebody's brother. That's somebody's family member on that curb. So to fast forward, 2.5, 3 years pass by. I'm getting ready, and I already made a decision that that I didn't want to do retail anymore. I definitely didn't want to go to school. I mean, I had the grades, and I was, I didn't have the mentoring I needed growing up. Did the SATs, got accepted to Howard University and North Carolina A&T, but I had no one to guide me on financial aid, how to do the paperwork. Didn't have that because Gerald pretty much had to raise himself. So I had made a decision. I said, well, I always knew that if you wanted to change the direction of your life, at least for 4 years, you can always go in the military. And military will pay for your education. So that is what I did. Joined the Air Force. Went to MEPS, got my little delayed enlistment paperwork. Even though if they could have said you could leave tomorrow, I would have done so, but that wasn't the case. Well, just so happened, the week before I'm getting ready to leave, I had a lot of stuff going on that week. And I remember I was on the bus heading downtown, catch subway. I had just, I think the day before or a couple days before, bought a brand new, I think it was a Duke Duke Blue Devils hat because it was cobalt blue and it had a D. But the D for me was from my last name. As I'm getting ready to get on the bus, wouldn't you know it, our bird came out of nowhere and crapped all on this hat as I had it on. Didn't know, but I felt something. And I went and did like that. I'm like, oh, damn. So I took the hat off. Thank goodness I had the hat on. And so I try to sling it off. And there was, of course, the bus got trash on there. There's newspaper. So I go to try to wipe it. And, needless to say, the hat was damaged. But as I was making my way to the back of the bus to sit down, I happened to see this couple in the corner, and as I sat down, and I'm driving, they're riding down, the bus is going down the route, and all of a sudden, I feel this tap on my shoulder. Growing up in the city, you don't know. People might be trying to stick you up, whatever. So I kind of ignored it. I got a tap again. So I turned around, and was this really beautiful woman, young woman. She was in her early 20s. And I looked back, And I said, yes. So my boyfriend want to say something to you. I'm like, oh, damn, here we go. And I turn around and I see this guy. And he looks at me and his eyes is kind of big. You know, not high, but they were kind of like excited, kind of. And I look back and he says, hi, you don't remember me. You probably don't. And I said, no, I don't. We've never met. I said, yes, we have. I said, where? Because you see people all the time. He said, I watched you for 3 years get on the bus, and I was kind of out of my mind at that time. It was a dark place, but you always spoke to me, and I want to thank you. Y'all, I felt this warm sensation hit me, and I didn't know what I was feeling because I was kind of taken back, but I wasn't afraid. That was the homeless guy. Come to find out, he came from a well-to-do family, made some bad choices, got strung out on drugs, and pretty much for 3 years he had been living on the street until somebody recognized him and got him help. Now, once again, each one teach one, but love is everlasting. And I never forgot that. I never forgot that. So, with that being said, the people you meet today, you're not promised to see them tomorrow. I ain't got to tell you that. Look at the news. But you're going to have some people that are going to be connected to your life forever. They're there because there is something required of you. Now, this goes the opposite. We know this as soul ties. Soul ties are not connections made from love. Usually, they're made from lust, desire, impulse, the things you don't need. They derive from the things that we want. And the problem with that is, for the most part, these are going to be the foundations of your life lessons. I ain't got to tell you that. Just look at your life. We all got challenges. We all have fears. We all have things about us that we must champion. But the kicker is when. When do we decide that enough is enough? When do we decide that this isn't the road we should be on? When do we decide that the healing begins? I'll tell you when. It's the moment that you look yourself in the mirror and your mind, your body, talking about your heart, comes together, and inside you, you've already made the decision that you're going to take a different route that you've never taken before. This is not something that is calculated or methodical. This is straight blind faith. Because what do you have to lose? You already know what's going on in your day-to-day now because you live in it. But just look at it this way. Think about the challenges that had you frozen. Come on, Queens. Some of y'all living a life that you numb inside. You are actually at the point where you feel like you are undeserving of somebody loving you. And that's the reason why you're with him. Your life is not the consolation prize. Your life is the experience. But if you turn around and take the advice or use the example of those that are connected to you, then why won't you take a step back and see what's going on indirectly? If they had it going on, why isn't their life going as they speak it to? If they had the best relationship, why are they apart? You see what I'm saying? If your connections are really nothing but examples of contradictions, it's because they're not supposed to be with you at this moment. Doesn't mean a person can't change, but if time is progressing and the only thing is changing is the examples of what you don't need, why won't you do something that you do? I keep trying to tell you that. If you keep trying to emulate what you see on TV, Queens, the women on the TV, come on, you know that ain't legit. The women that they use on TV are schizophrenic, they all have sex addictions, mental health issues, closet alcoholics, and suffer from deep depression. And you know what that is? That's your entertainment. Listen to the music. The music you listen to. How much positivity is in that? I know somebody's saying right now, well, Gerald, I listen to spiritual music. Okay. You think the devil's not involved with that too? Come on now. But see, I know right now somebody's saying, oh, Gerald, you judging. No, I'm not. Okay, I am. If I'm judging because I think that you deserve to have the life that you dream, I guess I'm wrong. Because I'm going to always be that person that says, you can do it. But you got to do the work. So what you afraid of? You're afraid that if you do something different, that you'll be abandoned by those that call themselves friends? If they're your friends, why aren't they setting the example? You ever thought about that? How many times when the roles were reversed and you told them sound advice, what did it do? It went in one ear and out the other. Why? Because they didn't want to change. They just wanted to vent. And some of us have been so brazen to tell you that. I already know what I need to do. I just wanted to talk. Misery loves company, y'all. Come on. See, a lot of y'all don't realize, but when I say we are in spiritual times, we are. I truly believe that in my spirit we are. And I believe that all the events that have occurred this past year were meant. It was meant. Everything that occurred that we've seen put in the media, even though the media likes to spin things, come on, nothing happens by chance, y'all. Come on now. There's a reason behind everything. And I'm not even talking from a conspiracy level. No. I'm talking about what's found in that book. But I also know that book was written by man. And I also know that there's allegory in there. That's why I also believe this. Your connection with God is your connection. My connection with God is my connection. But the commonality that is shared by you and I is we both believe. Now, that's the foundation that you should build your life on. Now, I know some people will be quick to say, well, you know, that's boring, Gerald. I need some spice in my life. I need some drama. That's why I feel alive. Yeah, you might feel alive. But how much of alive do you think you would feel if you were at peace? How alive do you think you would feel if you didn't allow your fears to keep you from your dreams? Because guess what? They are your dreams. No one can make them a reality but you. That's why it is your life, your experience. So the question is, why won't you? Because they won't accept you? Because they don't understand? Look, you don't get no prize in dumbing down your intellect. You don't get a prize in settling because you don't want to be alone. What's the point on getting married to somebody and you don't love them? But people do it all the time. Come on. Your life has more value than just being a glorified kept woman. I know that need to go out to somebody because you flirting with it. Yes, right. He didn't promise you the moon, but gave you the stars. And you're saying, well, my life could be better if I'm with him. You know, he got some things he got to work on. But if I'm with him, he can change. He ain't changing. He the same person he was when he met you, and he gonna be the same person when you leave him because it's his choice to live his life. You just so happen to be in it, and unfortunately, you ain't the only one. You think you're the only one to see this guy? You think you're the only one to see that woman? You're like, man, she's beautiful. Well, if you see she's beautiful, you think you're not the only one? Come on. The person that's supposed to be in your life will be your equal on all levels. They will help you grow. They will spawn and inspire your intellect. And they will tell you what you need, not what you want to hear. Why? Because it should come from a place of love. But if you don't love yourself, guess what? You will never love anybody because you don't know what it feels like to love you. So you can't expect that to come back. That's lust. And unfortunately, that's the devil in the corner saying, I got you. Yep, here's your new lesson. Send in the demons. And he does it all the time. I know this person right now hooked up with this guy. And from the outside, he had it going on. Gave her everything she desired. She was the envy of all her friends. Then the beating started coming. Then the control started to come. Then the shame. Sure, the people that cared told her to walk away. But she was so absorbed in what her world was like. She didn't want to build it for herself. So she more or less became that little canary in the cage. She almost lost her life, y'all. Wouldn't press charges. And needless to say, she's suffering for it because she doesn't know her worth. I told this person, I'm not going to watch you die slow. She told me, Oh, you just hating. No, I told her, no, it's because I love you. I love the human being. But if you don't love yourself, it doesn't matter what is adorned around you. Because when you're gone, you ain't taking it with you. Domestic violence ain't no joke, y'all. And if you with somebody and it's at the point where you guys are throwing blows, using control tactics, or worse, feeling that you gotta step out of the bond and have someone on the other side, I'm gonna tell you something. There's a price there's gonna be paid, and it's called pain. Nobody wins in that. And unfortunately, it does come back. It's called divine intervention. Because where love is not, the only thing you find there is stagnation, division, and pain. It is very important. I got a feeling somebody right now, that's your main thing. You trying so hard to keep your house together, but it's toxic. Sure, the loving is great when they not bipolar. I know I'm talking to somebody. And you're addicted to the drama. That's your high. Because you know that some good loving is going to come from it. You'll come to understand that good loving is nothing but abuse, package, and intimacy. That's why it's rough. That's why its intent is intense. There's no love there. Because if it was, why do you not feel safe? My queens, my kings, love don't hurt. Do not fool yourself. What matters is self-preservation, self-respect, and self-worth. If you're sticking around a relationship because of the assets attached to it, you're no different than the assets itself. These are inanimate objects that have no possession until they're claimed. Why do you think you're there? Because that person who had it before you did the same thing to you. And all they're doing is using it as a means of control. Do not squander your self-respect because of what someone's bringing to the table. If they're not bringing their heart, they can't bring their self-worth. And if they can't bring their self-worth, they'll never respect yours. Something to think about. But needless to say, y'all, we're in spiritual times, y'all. And don't be afraid to talk to God. He knows your thoughts. He knows everything. He's omnipotent. Nobody knows you best but you. But no one knows you better than him. So stop running from yourself. I know somebody right now, you're crying. You cried so much your eyes hurt. You said, I'm all cried out, Gerald, but I don't know what to do. I'm 1 foot out of the door, but my heart is still here. Listen, why do you think I always suggest get a second opinion? Go talk to a therapist so you can heal you. It's okay sometimes you got to take yourself out of a situation to have a clearer view. If it's divinely meant, guess what? In time, all things heal. But it's a joint effort, not a dictatorship. You can only own and work on you defining you. You cannot do it on contention if what they do. You can't. Can't worry about what they're doing. You worry about you. And if it's meant for you to have, guess what? Even if you're not with them, you'll have it. And it'll be beyond your expectations because it'll be done from your merits. And guess what? You'll feel a whole lot better because you'll know what it took to acquire it. Hopefully it's blessed. Because you already know, anytime you take shortcuts, you cut yourself short. You do know that, right? You do know that. That's why I keep telling you. Stolen moments don't work. All that does is open up more doorways of pain and more things and more efforts to have to fix later on. Because they come back to, oh yeah, oh yeah. The squeaky wheel gotta get the oil. And when you least expect it, who's that coming through the door? Your past. And it plays out until you do the work. You deserve better. God's praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, for that, for that, it helps me discern mine. And you know what? Yes, I know people say, what about them haters, Gerald? Guess what? If you wasn't unique, if you didn't, if there, why you think they there? Because they don't have the courage to do it themselves. So guess what? They don't want you to do it. And what you're really seeing is manifestation of potential misery loving more company. Don't claim that. Sidestep that foolishness and keep stepping back to you. Stay blessed, y'all. Love to hear from you. Bye.